Did he say 25%? Yeah, 25. 10. 10? 10?
What's up, guys? So I told a few clients I would make this for you. This is my recipe for cauliflower cheese bread. So the cool thing about cauliflower cheese bread is it's practically zero carbs, and honestly, depending on how strong you make it, can almost be zero fat as well. It's just a really nice snack. So I'm actually going to explain to you step by step how to make this. So the first step that you're going to want to do is pretty much any normal size cauliflower. It doesn't have to be a huge cauliflower, right? But any normal size cauliflower, take about half of it. We're going to put it in a food processor, grind it up, and we're going to put it in the microwave for 9 minutes to really get it cooked. All right. At this time, to be the most efficient at this, and I've done this several times now, is this is the time you want to start your oven. So really get your oven preheating right now. So it's going to be 450 degrees. All right. All right. So the next step, while you have the cauliflower processed up, it's ground real fine. It's in the microwave right now. The oven is preheating to 450. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a bowl. So we need a bowl big enough that we can put these ingredients in and the cauliflower after it's done cooking in the microwave. All right. So make sure your bowl's big enough. Now, first thing you're going to do, you need 1 egg. This is where people really start to mess it up. Is too many eggs. Honestly, you don't need a lot of eggs here. So I just put the whole egg in. Garlic, so I use minced garlic, okay? And again, it's pretty much to taste with that. You can use as many as you want. I'm Italian, so I tend to use more than most people. Cheese. This is another step most people don't understand. You put the cheese in now, so you're mixing the cheese in. So measure out your cheese. Make sure you know exactly how much you're using. And then, from there, what we're going to do is we're going to add about 4 ounces of Greek yogurt, okay? This is the trick right here. So again, we don't really want any of the watery stuff. It's not a huge deal, but we just want, about I use about 3 to 4 ounces. I tend to err a little bit on the lighter side with the Greek yogurt just because it's not my favorite thing in the world, right? So I tend to not use a lot of it, but if you're somebody who really likes Greek yogurt, go for it. And again, we're only using plain here. So the plain, while it does have some carbohydrates, it has 23 grams, pretty much 1 cup is what we're using. So it's got 23 grams of protein right now, 10 grams of carbs, the 1 egg. So we're looking at about 29 grams of protein and 10 grams of carbs. And then with cheese, yeah. So I mean, again, as you can see, the carbs are just pretty much from the Greek yogurt. That's the only place. Now, the last thing before we really get into this, all right, is spices. So I use basil, and again, this is to taste, guys. Like, there's not like a correct amount to use, so it's whatever you like. If you make it once and you don't taste an ingredient, use more next time. Or if you really like garlic like I do, use a lot of garlic. It's really up to you. So for me, what I pretty much stick with is Mrs. Dash onion and herb, little basil, little ground black pepper, and then a little bit of sea salt, and that's it. So all you're going to do is mix this up. So you're going to mix this mixture up before you put the cauliflower in, right? So that's the next step, is you're going to mix all this up. And then when the cauliflower comes out, you just pour it in, mix it up again. And then when we're ready for that step, I will show you what we are doing. But pretty much what you're looking for here is this is going to be kind of the base and what's going to hold that bread together. And obviously the cheese and all the spices are what's going to give it flavor. So this is what we're looking for. Again, if you can see that, it's nothing real fancy. We're just mixing up the cheese, the yogurt, the egg, and the spices. That's it. All right, so the next step that we're going to do is we've got our mixture here. The cauliflower is just finishing up in the microwave. So if you have parchment paper, I recommend using parchment paper first and then pamming the parchment paper. I just ran out, actually. Perfect timing, of course. So then I use some Pam just to make sure that it's not going to stick to the bottom of the pan, because that will ruin it. So the hard part about this process is honestly, once it cooks is where you really just kind of have to pay attention a little bit. So as you can see, I didn't, like dry this off or dry it out or anything. I just put it straight from the microwave right into our mixture. Okay, now I'm just mixing it up. So what this is going to do, obviously this will melt the cheese in there. This will get everything, all the spices, all the yogurt, all the egg, everything mixed right up, okay? So this is literally all you're looking for is right here. So as you can see, this is going to be a pretty decent sized batch. Again, I tend to buy bigger cauliflowers. So, yeah, mainly just because I like this stuff and it's not real terrible for you. And it's way better than the alternative of actually like getting like cheesy bread from somewhere else, right? So now that you've got it here, this is the trick. So this is how you get it to cook right. The problem that most people have is they do not do this process. So what you want to do is really make it like as thin as you can. The thinner the better. You're going to find that the thicker you keep it, it takes exponentially longer for this stuff to cook. So we're really, again, trying not to like have holes in it, but we're really trying to just spread it out nice and thin. As you can see, this is a pretty big batch of bread, or cauliflower bread, but whatever. Again, and you can divide this up, right? So if you make a batch this big, make it fit your macros. You can have, you know, however much it is that you can have. You're actually surprised at how much of this you can get away with eating. So once you got it paper thin, again, it goes in the oven for 450, and that's the next time we'll see it, is what we're looking for in the oven, what we really are looking for coloration wise, alright? Alright, so now we're going to open the oven, and that's really what we're looking for right there. So starting to brown on top, the edges are getting crispy, and remember it's thin, so it'll be that same way inside. So again, if you want to, you know, really, you know, spice up the presentation on this and add a little bit more fat, what you can do is just, from now, you just open it up and put some more cheese on it and melt that cheese on top. Or you can just eat it like this, it'll still be really cheesy. So it's really up to you. It's kind of whatever you want to do. So again, you know, you can cut it up into slices, serve it like breadsticks, however you want to present it, but that's literally as easy as it is. I left this in for 22 minutes. Sometimes it takes 18, sometimes it takes 25. So it kind of just depends on the size of the batch, but again, we want that browning on top and crispy around the edges, and you are good to go. Enjoy.